When we look for something in particular, we are turning our eyes away from others. Can we approach thoughts, feelings, incidents, the poetry of sense, and the greatest words ever spoken in the history of mankind without looking for something? What will this focusless exploration lead to? Let's find out. Namaskar, everyone. Welcome to my podcast, Looking for Nothing with Mandar. Today, we are going to talk about and we are going to explore multiple facets of a very interesting quote by Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj. In one of his talks, Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj has said, being is your sadhana, doing is incidental. What he's trying to say is that your true practice is to be aware of, to be focused on your state of being. And what you actually end up doing, it's incidental. It doesn't really matter what you do. And I thought let's just go into this, and let's also see what other saints, other seers have said about these two very important facets of our life. One is being, second is doing. We are always focused on what we do. Even karma yoga, for instance. Many people will talk about karma yoga and doing as a practice, doing as a sadhana. But we end up actually talking about and comparing what we have done versus what someone else has done. So it always get to how bigger the work is. Like the people that we acknowledge as karma yogis are people who have done really big work, like big social work, big companies, big businesses, philanthropic efforts, and all of that. So in some way, we have associated this idea of accomplishment with karma yoga, even though the karma yoga begins with saying nishkam karma. And then, that brings us to a very interesting aspect, that why we get dragged into an objective and outcome for what we do. Is it really possible to cut that outcome, that aspect, that hope, that desire for an outcome from what we do? And then ultimately, what does it do to our state of being? And I thought this one statement from Nisargadatta Maharaj is a very good entry point into all of this. So when we talk about this aspect, of doing and being, we generally find this tendency of jumping to two different and drastic poles. So we'll find people who abandon all kind of action, and they would sit somewhere and they would say, it doesn't matter, action doesn't matter. On the other hand, we have other polarity of people, who will say, it's all in doing, and do it, get it done, accomplish this, that, and we have so many role models. We have Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and many like Sundar Pichai, so many people. And I think we always get confused between these polarities, or we are often dragged into these polarities. I want to talk about, is there a middle way? Or whenever we are concerned with let's not even look for a middle way, but even if we just arrive at this conclusion that sticking to a pole is not going to help us, I think that is also good enough and, learning for ourselves. So, this quote reminds me of a very beautiful line from this very old text called Siddha Siddhanta Paddhati. It's probably 10th century text, which talks about very basic premises of Nath Sampradaya. And in that, there is a pad from Sant Gorakhnath, where he says, Ajapa Japana, Tapabina Tapana. Now, this is very interesting. He's saying you have to do your japa, but you have to do it in ajapa manner. So he's saying Ajapa Japana. Similarly, he says Tapa bina tapana. So you have to do tapa, but it should not be tap. So tapa bina tapana. Doesn't it sound confusing? I think what Gorakhnath is trying to hint here is very important. He's saying that tap that you are doing it just not to achieve some siddhi or achieve some end outcome, but watch your state of being when you are doing your tap. What your state of being when you are doing your japa. That tap or jap is not the end outcome. Is doing that is just incidental. You can do anything. Like in Zen, there is chopping wood and dropping water, picking water, fetching water. So many things. Like before enlightenment, chop wood. After enlightenment, chop wood. And all these sentences, koans, these pad, they are in a way hinting that you will have to do something. So do it. But that doing is incidental. That's not the point. The actual point is what is your state of being when you are doing. It is not possible to completely abandon action. And Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj, he has said this. Like he says, like कर्म मी करीन किंवा ते सोडीन बोलणे हे जाणं अज्ञानाचे. So it's Marathi translation of Bhagavad Gita. So these are same pointers which come in Bhagavad Gita, where he's saying ki कर्म मी करीन किंवा ते सोडीन बोलणे हे जाणं अज्ञानाचे. So Krishna is telling Arjun that I will do some action or I will not do some action. This is coming from your ignorance, from your ajnan. Because he's saying you cannot stop working. And as the passage unfolds, there are many, many examples. He's saying, will your eyes stop seeing when you say, I don't want to do any action? Will your ears stop listening when you say, I don't want to do any action? Would your digestion stop? Would your sleep stop? Would you not wake up? So he's saying, then what are you actually stopping if everything is going on? And I think this is very important point here, which actually says that when you say, I don't want to do, you are again focused on doing. When you say, I want to do, you are again focused on doing. The switch is shifting that focus from doing to being. That's it. And then do whatever you want to do, whatever is right to do in that social context. Do it. That doesn't matter. But I think where we get confused is we will either say, okay, I'm not going to do or I'm going to do. And in both of these scenarios, being gets sidelined. And if you look at our life today, it's a classic example of this sidelined being. Like, look at all these Swiggy, Zomato, Amazon delivery guys. They are doing work, they are getting money out of it. But what is their state of being when they are doing it? All the cab drivers. What are we subjecting them into? They are constantly in traffic, they're constantly rushed by people. Where is my order? If they are delayed by 2 minutes, you will give them a poor rating. That will. So what kind of state of being we are subjecting them to? That doesn't get talked about. What gets talked about is, yes, they are getting job and they are getting paid. Same applies to even us also. Like very class. This all begins when we are born. Like a baby. Whenever it gets attention from the caregiver, from the mother, it's in a different state of being. And whenever that attention shifts, whenever mother is talking to someone else, somebody else doing some other work, the child goes in the state of dis-ease, so that it gets that attention from the mother. And then it again comes back into that happy state of being. We learn this habit and it builds into a habit over the years. And every time we want something, we have to go in the state of disease. So look at our state of being. Like activists, there are so many issues of ecology, climate, all around us. How do we get attention? How do we get attention to our cause? It's essentially by disturbing our state of ease. And that's why most of the social workers, their health is so bad, because that negligence towards state of being, it takes a toll on our body. It affects the work we do. And actually, it's very sad to see that our entire society has become a reflection of it. If you have to function in this society, you will have to go in state of disease and only then you will be heard. Even at workplaces, you will have to panic, you will have to raise issues, you will have to fight, you will have to do a big show, tantrum, then you will get noticed. Unfortunately, that's how the society is built. The simple cause is we have made doing our end objective and not being. And this is that fine, very, very, very minute switch. We can keep doing what we are doing. We don't have to stop it. We don't have to change it. Rather, all the saints have said, that even a gardener who is doing his work is as important as a scientist, maybe who is working on a spacecraft. We don't believe in that. We believe that a scientist is much, much higher, an artist is much, much higher than an ordinary mundane teacher in the school. But if we go by this hypothesis, whatever you do, it's just incidental. Focus on your state of being. You will anyway do great work. No matter what you are doing, you will always achieve that excellence that you want to. But shift the focus from doing to being, and that's where the entire magic begins.